Hello and welcome to yet another tutorial looking at the Go Grammar 2 series. This is Unit 35, looking at sentence types. Now there's four key sentence types that we're going to be looking at today. First of all, we've got the simple sentence, then we've got compound, complex, and then to make it really confusing, a compound complex sentence. Let's have a look at the difference between each of these. Now the writing on this screen is quite small, so you probably find this easier if you look in your textbook and follow on with the examples there. A simple sentence has only a subject and a predicate. And so if you need to remind yourself about those terms, subject and predicate, go back to Unit 8. You've covered that information there. They consist of one main clause, and the verb of the sentence belongs to the predicate. The predicate may also have one or more words that complete or clarify the meaning of the verb. Let's have a look at this. Here's our example. Sydney is a spectacular city. Sydney is our subject. Is a spectacular city is our predicate. This is a simple sentence. This next one. The sports complex was erected after a public campaign. So again, the first part here is our subject, the sports complex. Then we've got our verb, which in this case signifies the beginning of our predicate, was erected after a public campaign. Now a compound sentence is made up of at least two main clauses, joined by a conjunction or separated by a semicolon. Here's our examples. Sydney is a spectacular city and Melbourne is the most livable. So we've got the conjunction and here joining our two simple sentences. The sports complex was erected after a public campaign. The old mansion has been restored nearby. So we can see similar sort of concept here, but we've got the semicolon, which allows us to add the extra sentence. A complex sentence is a little bit more tricky. This is made up of one main clause and one or more dependent or subordinate clauses. Now, if you need to remind yourself of what a dependent or subordinate clause is, then you need to go back to Units 32 and 33. That'll help you out. The main clause is the sentence itself in its basic form. The other clauses depend on it and add detail of less importance. In the following examples, the subordinate clauses are in italics. So for example, they believe that Santa Claus would deliver all the presents on the list. When I replied, he was able to understand who had left the telephone message. So here we've got they believed was our simple sentence, and here he was able to understand is our simple sentence. And all of this other stuff is the dependent or subordinate clause. For a compound complex sentence, you can imagine that we're going to combine this as well as the complex. It's made up of at least two main clauses and one or more subordinate clause. Here's our example. They had made a long wish list, and I'm just going to circle the conjunction because we'll come back to that. They believed that Santa Claus would deliver all the presents on the list. So the above has two main clauses. They had made a long wish list. So there's our first main clause. And the second one is they believed. So we've got that in there again. And then the add one subordinate clause is that Santa Claus would deliver all the presents on the list. So you can see we've got the two main clauses. They're joined by the conjunction, so that's why it's a compound sentence. And then to finish off, we've got the subordinate clause, which makes it a complex sentence. Therefore, it is a compound complex sentence. A little bit tricky, but you just got to break your sentences up into the different parts, really. Let's have a look at the activities. Question number 1. All you need to do is to underline the main clause in each of the following complex sentences. For the first one, I followed them. And the rest of it is a subordinate clause. When I was walking up the narrow ravine. I'll help you out with the second one too. The policeman yelled to the jaywalkers who were dodging the traffic. For this one, same sort of concept. The policeman yelled at the jaywalkers. That is our main clause in this sentence. Now, C is a little bit different, and let's see if you can pick up how it's structured differently. When the cashier returned, she told us that the steak had been removed from the menu. Now, the main clause is actually she told us, and then the rest of it is the subordinate clause. So see if you can go through looking at the other examples and identifying the main clauses. Question number 2, you need to write in here whether it is a simple, a complex, a compound, or a compound complex sentence. And I'm sure you'll be able to do this with no problems. The first one, you need to heat some oil in a pan. This is a simple sentence. There's no conjunction in there, there's no embedded clauses, so you know that it's just a simple sentence. For the second one, when it begins to sizzle, you can add some chopped onions. Because we have the information at the beginning, when it begins to sizzle, we understand that that's an embedded clause, and therefore it's a complex sentence. Let's have a look at the last set of activities, shall we? For take it further, there's only one task, and you need to combine the sentences below to form compound sentences. And for this first one, we finished dinner, full stop, then we went to the movies. Here we just use an and it tells you this, it gives you that instruction, so it's not too difficult to follow. If we look down at question number 2, we've got the same concept, but we want to use the word before to join them. We finished dinner before we went to the movies. So just follow the instructions carefully and you should be able to complete that task without it being too difficult. The last one, underline one complex sentence and put a wavy line under one compound complex sentence in the following. There's only a few sentences there, so you shouldn't go too far wrong. Just make sure that you're looking carefully for the compound complex sentence and you should be fine. Good luck with the activities. I'll see you for the next tutorial. This is an ETV production brought to you by Prindiville Catholic College.